I got into an online argument with another woman
Mm-hmm.
over this issue because I said period products should be free. And she goes, but they're not free to manufacture. Or do you really expect taxpayers to pay this
Yeah.
or employers? And I said, well, toilet paper is also not free to manufacture and it addresses humans' bodily needs, all humans. And yet, when you go into a restaurant or you go out into public, there is toilet paper available for you without a cost.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
If we are going to create a society for women, we need to accommodate a woman's body.
Welcome to Words About Stuff, a podcast where I talk to awesome people about the stuff they love. I'm your host, Amy the Copywriter, and today I'm joined by Kayla Branstetter, a TEDx speaker, author, educator, and English instructor at Crowder College. Hello, Kayla.
Hello, Amy. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to brag about you for a second here, so you don't have to. You're the author of the book Don't Be an Athena, which we'll get into. And you've been published in 40 or more journals worldwide. Is that right?
Yes, roughly.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And you're also completing doctoral research in healthcare focused on narrative medicine in women's healthcare. That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about, I said all of those big things. What are those? How is that for you? What's going on?
Well, right now it's exhausting because I do not recommend a book launch while you're working on your dissertation research because I have one email where I'm talking to my publisher. We're doing last minute, like just a checklist of making sure the book's ready to go. And then I have to switch screens and go back. And I'm working on my research proposal right now, getting ready for IRB. And so I think I was on my computer probably 10 hours yesterday, just split screen and managing my children. So what does that mean? Well, other than exhaustion.
That's three jobs.
This weekend was three jobs, and it was Father's Day, so I had to try to get some kind of celebration for my husband and my stepdad. And then my 11-year-old is a competitive softball player. We were supposed to have the weekend off, and a team older than her needed a pickup player. So she goes, "Of course I want to play." I'm like, "Of course you do."
I support you helping others.
But narrative medicine, actually, I think like the concept has probably been around for thousands of years. It's not new. It's more like treating the patient mind, body, and soul. And so it's treating the patient more than just a checklist. I don't know how many times that I go to the doctor and you tell the receptionist what your symptoms are. Then you go in, the nurse takes your height, takes your weight, takes your vitals. You give the symptoms again to the nurse. What does the nurse do? The nurse is like typing and plugging in that information into the computer. Doctor comes in, everything is there. The doctor asks again. And in that whole process, it's almost like there's this I patient, and that the patient is whatever is going into your medical chart. And it's narrative medicine is about removing the shame behind the I patient, that there is a story behind those numbers and the vitals and the symptoms. And it's how do we get to the patient's story? And right now, there's just a complete distrust with the medical community, with the public. And some of it is valid, and some of it is just spread by mis and disinformation. And I think the general community just doesn't know what to believe. And in so many different incidents, myself included, and some women in my book, were medically gaslighted into thinking that their pain wasn't real, or not just gaslighting patients, but completely dismissing pain altogether, and that the pain isn't real. So that's narrative medicine is kind of like this concept of patient advocacy, but it's also addressing physician burnout, because if we look at statistics, physician and nurse burnout is high, mental health is deteriorating amongst our healthcare professionals, and I think a lot of that is tied to They feel so helpless in this fragmented system that is not working for the doctors, it's not working for the patients. So it's using the humanities to know how to cope with just situations that are completely out of their control. And so narrative medicine is just like this comprehensive lens for both providers and patients, using the humanities. And so it's just like bringing relevance to the humanities. And for the last several years, we have focused so much on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And I am not devaluing that emphasis. Those are all essential careers for our society. But I'm an advocate of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And because science, technology, math, engineering, that all helps build and keeps infrastructure going. But you still need to have creativity and you still need to have human connection. And so I feel like narrative medicine is reminding the healthcare community about the human connection. That is so important. It's the art of medicine, not so much the science of medicine.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. And I need to look up the word holistic. Is holistic medicine also including storytelling?
It's heading in that direction.
Okay.
And so there are certain cultures that they do focus on just like the patient themselves. Um, Midwives are trained to do this. They are. And I think they block almost an hour to go visit their patients. And so that way they can get to know the patient and understand the patient's concern. And hospice nurses. I think hospice nurses are just wonderful human beings, but they're also well trained in listening and what does the patient need, what does the family need, because caregiving is also stressful, especially for the family that is undergoing such. They're grieving, there's a lot of stress with a hospice nurse. But yeah, holistic medicine, midwives, hospice. And even though there is and isn't any science backing it up, folk medicine is, even though the treatments may be outlandish and there's nothing scientific about it, what folk medicine does well is listen and the accessibility to somebody who can give advice.
Yeah. And that, oh, it all ties together. You're like reading
Yes.
my mind because I just watched every episode of Call the Midwife in the last couple of months. Before that, I didn't know really what midwives were. And I'll say that I had bought into the propaganda or a culture right now or whatever that midwives were less qualified than doctors in my mind. I was like, well, they don't have a degree. They're not working in a hospital, like that
Mhm.
patriarchal lens. And watching the show,
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, oh my God, they like go to their house. Well, this is in the show. I don't know if all midwives do it, but they go to this person's house. They're with them the whole time, before the baby, after the baby. They check on them later. I was like, oh my God, I think I saw my doctor for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I played into that as well because I've given birth twice. I have two daughters. And I'm like, I don't want a home birth.
Right.
Like, who in their right
Ugh.
mind is going to have a home birth? I want drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that was my mindset.
Yeah. And I thought they wouldn't be able to help you. In my mind, like
Yes,
every pregnancy is an emergency. I need to be in the hospital
yes.
for all. And yes, some of them are, but I guess a vast amount of things can be done at home and you're not stressed and you're not getting an infection for being in the hospital. Like pros and cons to everything. But I was biased against the midwives, 100%.
Oh, I agree with that experience because um, until I spoke with a midwife, I finally am like, oh, I wished I had this information when I was
Yeah.
going through pregnancy because then I would have been, more empowered to make a decision about how I wanted to deliver my children. And they do warn their clients or their patients that, if it's a medical emergency, they do need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So it's not like cutting off hospitals and doctors altogether. It's a relationship. Like
Hmm.
like midwives and hospitals work so well together. But I fed into that. I mean, I was induced with both of my pregnancies, and I thought a hospital was the only place to give birth.
Yeah.
And now that I've done my research with my book, I've spoken to professionals across the world. It's eye-opening. And that leads me into kind of like the purpose of my book is advocating for more education and resources and letting women know more about their bodies and more about their options when it comes to their reproduction.
Yeah. 100%. And you'd mentioned before, like a midwife is going to spend X amount of time with you, and a like general doctor or whatever. I don't know if you watch him, Dr. Mike, he's on YouTube. He talks about that he has 15 minutes to spend with each patient.
Yes.
That's not
Yes.
enough time for anything.
No. No, it's not. And I do have hope. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with AI right now because I feel like environmentally AI is something that needs to be regulated and we need to be watching out. And these data centers have me concerned. I live in a rural area, so our natural resources are so valuable for the farming community, which helps feed people. So, in that regard, I'm like, AI needs to be regulated. But on the other hand, I can see the benefits of AI, specifically in healthcare, because if AI can work with doctors, then maybe we can get back to the human connection, that 15 minutes isn't spent like treating the patient like a checklist and being like, well, I think
Yeah.
it's this. It can be spent actually having a conversation with your patient
Oh,
and
exactly.
getting back to the human connection.
Because they are just charting. Like they'll look at you,
Yes,
they'll like, whatever, and then back to charting. And they're still doing it after you leave. That's a huge burden. Even if they want to be
it
talking to
is.
you, they have
Yes.
to do this. It's too bad AI isn't perfect yet.
I know, and that's why I'm conflicted. Like I see like the benefits of what AI can do, especially in healthcare, and if we can, because I think doctors on average spend about 8 hours a week just charting, and if we can reduce that down to 2 to 4 hours with the help of AI, that's a significant amount of time that we can use to get back to human connection.
Yeah.
And some doctors will do that. There's Dr. Rita Charon. She is an MD. She's also a professor at Columbia University, one of the founding members of narrative medicine. And she said she had to shift the way that she started talking to her patients, in that, yes, the nurse has already put all the symptoms in the computer, but she finally spoke to her patients and said, what is it that you want me to know?
Yeah.
And that way, it just kind of creates that safe environment that the patient can finally start talking. And we're not making assumptions about the patient based off what is in the computer. We're talking to the patient and trying to kind of match what's in the computer and the patient, how they work together, and not making an assumption about the patient.
And even from like, I look at it from like customer service marketing perspective. The first thing I would be saying to a client in general is, what do you think is happening? And what do you want to
Mhm.
happen? Because that makes them tell me a story. It's not like, well, how much did
Yes.
you make on this ad last month? Like, I can ask that and that's fine, but what do you think is happening and what do you want to happen are much more instructive to me.
It doesn't take long to introduce a personal conversation with somebody, even if it's a patient. One exercise that I do with some of my students, which is great for even doctors, is ask their name. What is their name? The history behind the name, how to properly pronounce their names. What makes the United States such a wonderful country is our diversity.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like diversity is so great, but you may encounter somebody where their name you don't know how to pronounce. Be respectful and say, "Hey, tell me about your name."
Yeah. And they'll know that answer, right? It's instead of like, oh, I got to
Yes.
remember all my symptoms, I got to remember when it happened. A question like that is like, oh, wait, let me recenter here. I'm talking to a person.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome. This podcast is for awesome people by awesome people. So, Kayla, what makes you awesome today? And I'm also trying to think of my answer.
It's Monday and I made it to work on time. It's the last week of I teach Upward Bound, but last night we had storms coming in, and so my 6-year-old crawled into bed and was scared. So I hit my snooze button about 3 times this morning. So the fact that it's Monday, it's rainy, it's foggy, but I am here.
Yes, that almost feels like a mantra for life. It's this, this, and this, but I am here.
And I submitted my first round of my research proposal last night. So,
You're having a productive couple days here. That's crazy.
yes. Yes.
I'm trying to think of mine. Oh, okay. So it was the day we're recording this is after Father's Day. On Father's
Hmm.
Day, we put up our boundaries of like, what are we going to do today? You know, it's all about dad today. And
Hmm.
there were options to do other things, right? Like, oh, maybe we could go take care of this or do this or do this. And it was like, nope, we're going to do what and he wants to stay home and hang out. That's what we're going to do.
Yay.
So I felt
Yay.
unproductive, but that's good too.
No, I love days where plans can be canceled. I don't need to get on my loungewear and I have nothing planned because it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
So I love those days. But my 11-year-old daughter was upset because I didn't really give my husband a gift, but he gets whatever he wants. So I told her, I said, our gifts are memories. And
Hmm.
so I'm going to do like a family mani-pedi session. He's discovered he does like getting
Yeah.
pedicures. So we're going to do that. We're going to relax this week. We're going to find a pocket of time, and my husband and two daughters and myself are just going to go get mani and pedis. We're going to create a memory. And then we have some traveling coming up next month. And so I told my daughter, I'm like, yes, we got a card, we did the cake, we made dinner. But I'm like, it's not always about gifts. Like sometimes gifts are finding ways to make memories. And that's what we're doing.
I love that. I'm in that same zone at this point. I'm like, Christmas, come on. I don't need more things. Like, I appreciate it.
Yes.
People thinking of me, that's
Yes.
all amazing. That's all really great. But if I have to find a place for one more thing, I will lose my mind.
I am trying to declutter my house. I'm so tired of just stuff. And so now that my girls are getting older, I'm like, okay, a couple more years, then maybe we can like just go on a cruise or something instead
Yeah.
of like gifts.
I know. And we do the same thing of like, does it have to be a present? Because first of
Yeah.
all, like we
No.
get ourselves the things that we want. So like up a month
Yes.
before like my husband's birthday or Father's Day or whatever, I say like whatever you're about to buy yourself, just tell me what it is. So they're not like
Yes.
romantic gifts or whatever. It's like, oh, you needed a new mouse? Happy Father's Day. It's more just going along with it, but I also don't want to teach that presents are how you show affection, like you have to spend money to show someone you
Yes.
care. I don't think that's true. I used to make presents and I thought that was fine until I saw a bunch of commercials. So try to steer the train back around away from capitalism a tiny bit.
Yes. I think last Christmas was the first time at Christmas I did not stress out about presents. Because like years before that, it's you're decorating your house, you're trying to figure out where you're going, what are you going to feed everybody, and what type of presents. And I think this last Christmas was the first time I looked at my mom. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm like, whatever is under the tree at Christmas is what it is.
Yes, and it didn't all come crumbling down.
No, everybody was the same boat. My mom goes, so I'm like, I'm okay with a gift card. I'm like, you don't even have to give me anything.
No.
Come over, we'll play bingo, we'll play Uno. That's all I'm asking. I don't care about presents.
Yeah, exactly. And if I will, okay, I have a duality with presents. I don't want to get them because I have to. Like, it's Christmas, I have to get you a present. I
Hmm.
don't like that. If
Yes.
I see something that I'm like, oh my gosh, this person would love it, that I'm excited about.
Yes. Yes. Like if somebody's having a bad day, or when a close coworker of mine needed to make a career shift, and I'm being supportive. I'm going to miss her dearly, but I bought her this nice like candle set for her new office. And so, yeah, I agree with you. In circumstances like that, I don't care about getting somebody gifts. But I don't know. Christmas is just, it's a whole new, I'm over it.
Yeah. I tried it. I gave it a good run. It's been many years. I tried so hard. Now I just want to hang out and just relax.
Yes, that's what I want to do.
Amazing. Oh, what makes the audience awesome is liking, subscribing, and sharing the podcast. Maybe, so the topic is, I forgot to say this at the beginning. We'll see if I edit it to the beginning. The topic is listening to women. So maybe they comment with a woman they look up to and listen to. I don't know. Do people have lists like that? We'll see.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I always think like when people like, oh, think of all your heroes or whatever, the list is like largely men because that's who's in the
Hmm.
forefront, right? So sometimes you have to like work hard to find the women who were actually probably doing the exact same job as the men. They just didn't get
Oh,
publicized.
yes. Yes. Yes.
So we'll get to that main topic in a second, but first is the speed round. First question: what was your favorite drink as a child?
Oh, Sprite.
Well, that's a good one.
I still like a good Sprite, but I did go through a surge phase. Like I am that millennial, like the
I gotta
like
look it up.
Mountain Dew. Oh, it's no longer existence. It was like full of sugar and caffeine and green. It was like
I
Mountain
see it.
Dew times 100.
That looks very 90s.
Oh yes, yes.
Amazing. I like that one. I think so in Canada, what's the one I'm thinking of? Cream soda. In Canada, it's bright
Oh, I
pink.
did like cream soda.
And in the US,
Yeah.
isn't it brown? Like a poop brown color?
Yes, it is brown, the cream soda. I haven't
Yeah.
had a cream soda in I don't know how long.
It used to be my go-to, and it was like I don't like the color. Well, at the time, I didn't like the color pink. Internalized misogyny there as well. We can
Mhm.
we can therapize me a lot, but I liked that I could always tell that it was cream soda because it was a bright
Yes,
color that
the
didn't look like the
taste.
others. And okay, I do have a story about drinks when I was a child. I wasn't allowed to have, I think, Coca-Cola or caffeine, or it was something to, because I had cream soda, so I could obviously have some sugar. But I
Hmm.
was never allowed to have Coca-Cola for some reason. And my great aunt took me out to like McDonald's or something. And she's like, "What would you like to drink?" And I was like, "Coca-Cola." Like, I knew I wasn't allowed to have it, but I confidently said, "That's what I want." And when we got back home, my aunt said something to my mom. My mom was like, "What?" And my aunt was like, "Well, she ordered it like she has it every day." And I was like, "I decided to try it. I didn't like it." Spoiler alert, it wasn't any good. I should have had the cream soda. Question number two. I made this way too broad. So go ahead and narrow it down or answer whatever form of this question you want. But a book, a piece of art, or a story you've been thinking about lately?
I have like 3 books I'm reading right now, slash listening to because that's how I finish books with how busy I am. I'm listening to Yesteryear right now. It was a Good Morning America pick, and I'm loving it. I'm about an hour in, and the premise it aligns with some of my ick that is going on with social media right now. And my biggest complaint is it's going to come across I want to put a disclaimer. I support housewives. I support stay-at-home moms. It is a hard job, and I will support any woman with the decisions that she wants to make with her family. What I find dangerous is the trad wife movement of influencers telling impressionable young women to surrender their finances and give up everything about themselves to their husbands while they themselves have been educated and are making millions of dollars.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do, right?
Yes, I have a problem with that. So Yesteryear is funny because it kind of confirmed it's a story about that. So the narrator or the main character is Natalie, and Natalie is a trad wife in Idaho, and she's also a social media influencer. So she records everything. She has a producer, she has 2 nannies that are taking care of her like 4 children, and her father-in-law is a senator. Her husband's getting ready to go into politics. They have like this infinite amount of funds. And so she cooks everything from scratch. It's from their farm. They also have farm hands. So nothing about what she's putting on social media as a trad wife is authentically a trad wife.
Yeah.
So even though she's a stay-at-home mom, she has nannies and she's an influencer, and she judges women who are more progressive. But at the same time, she has a bachelor's degree from Harvard University in religious studies. So she's highly educated, but she is telling women to be this trad wife while not living a trad life herself. She has help. It's not any different from a working mom because I had daycare. I had to take my kids to daycare. It's not any different. I don't judge any woman who has to get a nanny or daycare because if you need help, you need help. But part one was talking about her circumstances, and then part two, she goes back to the 1850s. So she legitimately is living the life that she is pretending to live online.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if there was poetic justice like that? Just little lessons like that for people? That would be wild.
And so I'm an hour in, and I'm loving it so far.
That sounds amazing. And the cover's beautiful too.
It
There you
is.
go.
It is. It takes place in Idaho, and like I said, and I've had this complaint for a while. If you're like scrolling through TikTok or Instagram and you see these reels of these women who are talking about like cooking from scratch and their cleaning supplies, which is great. I have nothing wrong with that. I think it's great that we see some perspective of these women's lives. I think the problem I have with it is telling impressionable young women to surrender everything to their husbands while they themselves are making 6 or 7 figures a year being influencers, and they have a job and they have help.
100%. And that's the shine, right? It's like, oh,
Hmm.
you could be making this from scratch and it's totally relaxed and whatever. Mm. Don't believe everything you watch is the first thing.
No, no. If you want to see my living room right now, I have what's called a laundry chair because it
Hmm.
goes from the washing machine, the dryer, and it goes to the chair. And there are mornings we are digging through that chair trying
Yeah.
to get
Ours
clothes.
is a
And
couch.
ironing is putting it back in the dryer.
There's no ironing. Many, many moons ago, I decided that was not for me, and if anyone around me needs it, they're gonna have to learn that skill.
Yes, yes, it's in the dryer. So I have friends, I have neighbors who share their lives as stay-at-home moms, but there's an authenticity to their blogs. They're showing their living rooms that are, littered with toys. There's an authenticity to it.
Yeah.
It's the like picture perfect houses and the just you're telling people to have this traditional life while hiring help.
It's the hypocrisy. And I wonder what's the impetus behind it, right? The people showing their
Yeah,
real
me too.
lives is probably like, hey, you out there are not alone. Maybe I can find
Hmm.
other community that is similar in my mindset or life or experiences. Whereas when you're like a multi-billion dollar influencer, maybe it's
Yes.
brand deals. Maybe that's what you're doing.
It could be like with the cleaning supplies
Yeah.
or a certain type. Yeah, there's no telling. And I just think that yeah, like you said, it's the
Yeah.
inauthenticity and hypocrisy behind it. And I don't think it truly highlights what a stay-at-home mom and a traditional wife does.
No. Oh, I want to read
And
that
so
book.
I feel like that book does it justice. And I just found out today because I told my coworker about it. I told him, I said, you need to listen to this. And he goes, I think I remember that. Anne Hathaway, the actress Anne Hathaway, bought the rights to Yesteryear to make it into a movie that she's going to produce and star in. So I'm like, oh, and it's going to be a movie. That's
Let's
awesome.
go. Read before you watch. Usually the book
Yes,
is a little better, but
yes.
I do like some movie adaptations. And
Well,
more people can see it, right? More people get the story.
yes. And Anne Hathaway has been in like everything this year. She's like in what, like 4 or 5 films.
She's busy too. She's having a productive week as well. This episode is brought to you by nurses. They make the healthcare world go round, and they don't get the credit they deserve. If you haven't watched The Pit, that's a nice little window into the current state of healthcare. They have lots of doctors and nurses and experts consulting on the scripting and how things are presented. So, a couple little facts for you. According to nursingworld.org, the American Nurses Association, 1 in 4 nurses reported being physically assaulted at work in a 2019 survey. That's not good. I know we hear about other jobs where people say it's a dangerous, dangerous job, but we're not hearing about nurses as much as those. Curious. In a National Nurses United survey, 70% of nurses surveyed had been verbally threatened. More than 30% reported being pinched, scratched, slapped, punched, kicked, physically threatened, or having objects thrown at them. Only 15% experienced no workplace violence. 15%. Too low. So, next time you're out and about, remember to thank a nurse and not punch them. That's a start. And now back to the episode. What was it like doing a TEDx talk? Was it scary? Was it easy? How did you feel?
So my first TED Talk, I've done two, and the first one, I was such a college student because I didn't submit my application until like 11:30 at night when it was due at 11:59 because I'm like, there is no way that I'm going to be selected to do a TED Talk. And so I'm like, well, I pulled one of my blogs called Don't Be an Athena. I wanted to streamline the message to my book. And I'm like, I'm just going for it. It is what it is. So I hit submit. And next thing I know, I received an email that I had been selected. And a lot of emotions were going through me to, oh my goodness. I'm like, I am doing a TED Talk. That's exciting to, oh my gosh, I'm doing a TED Talk.
That's so funny.
And so it was just this duality of emotions of so excited and reality of I'm doing this. And it took a while. I wrote the speech, had to get it memorized. I would go for walks, and while I'm going on a walk, I'm like continuously memorizing this speech. I worked with a woman who helped me with my slide deck and then just trying to get everything timed, but it connected me to other professionals. I believe in networking anywhere and everywhere, and so it just gave me an opportunity to network with individuals who shared the same passions that I do, and that's been such a valuable network as well. My second TEDx was actually a consequence of the first TEDx. So the first TED Talk, I was introduced to a professor who teaches art appreciation for medical students in a nearby university. She pulls sculptures and artwork from the past, and students must use their medical knowledge to make a diagnosis of what the painting or the sculpture is projecting unknowingly, because these are like artists that didn't know that this could have been a condition. And so it's a cool class.
It's cool. I want to
And
do that. I want to become a doctor and then do that class.
yeah, it's for undergrad students.
Ooh.
And so she invited me to an artful medicine symposium where I talk about creative writing strategies and how doctors can use creative writing strategies to form relationships specifically with women. And then that connected me to a professor from a medical school in Pennsylvania, and he invited me to my next TED Talk. So that one required more traveling, and TEDx does not pay you to speak. You have to kind of flip the bill for that. So they brought me in, and I spoke to their doctors about my book and what I've learned and the statistics facing women's healthcare. And then I did my TED Talk. So that one, it was shorter. It required more traveling. But the shock of doing a TED Talk was gone because I'm like, I can do this. I know what the protocol is now. But yeah, the first one, this is such an honor. I'm excited to, oh my goodness, I'm going to be on YouTube.
Yes, I know. That can be a scary thought. You're like, everyone's going to see it and everyone's going to do it. And then usually I'm like, I hope no one watches it. That's what I say to myself. Like when you applied to it, like 11:30, like no one's going to, that's what I have to say to myself with everything I do. No one's going to watch it. No one's going to read it. No one's going to whatever. And then when they do, that's fine, I guess. It's already out there. I can't stop it. If I thought everyone is going to see this, I wouldn't do the thing.
Yes. And actually, it's people closest to me that I'm like, are you sure? Like, I'm okay. Like, you don't have to.
That's so interesting. And like you said, networking, I have this like love-hate relationship with the idea of networking because the word networking makes me feel gross. But
Mhm.
connecting with other people is like what we have to do to be sane and exist in a community. So,
Yes.
yes, the networking happens when you are doing something you like to do. That I'm good with. I hate the idea of like
Mhm.
going somewhere and trying to like sell people on what I do. That makes me want to
Oh,
throw
yeah,
up.
no. I love finding like-minded people who share my same passions because it just seems like once that connection is made, the relationship just flourishes and positive changes happen as a result of those relationships.
think the organic nature of it. And like, I know some people get annoyed because they're like, well, I don't know how to network. I'm like, well, I don't know how to do anything, right? I just do things and then
Mhm.
maybe it worked out and maybe it didn't. But someone selling you like a course of how to network, maybe they can help you, that's fine. But the real thing is like doing it, right? The real thing is applying
Yeah,
to do a TED Talk.
it's yeah, it's applying to a TED Talk. It's sitting at a table in a conference and just making I all of my networking that I have done has been started with just a basic conversation
Hmm.
of like, hey, what's your name? Back to my name. Like, hey, what's your
Yeah.
name? What do you do? What do you teach? And finding out you may be from the same area, or maybe you both have kids, or maybe you don't. One doesn't have kids, but you share a passion in literature and in the theater. I make it my goal when I go places, whether it's a conference or even on an airplane, if I'm just sitting to a stranger, is how am I like this person?
Yeah. We're more alike than we are different. You can find
Yes.
something that is alike. You can also find a difference, and that's not necessarily bad.
No, I can say, and we can argue over literature and film. And I actually, one of the most interesting papers I had last year from a student, and it challenged my thinking. And I don't like, sometimes I don't get those papers often, to the point where I'm about ready to reread this series and be like, okay, girl. So the student was a major Harry Potter fan,
Right.
or is a Harry Potter fan. Her paper was, and it had to be argumentative. She was arguing that Dumbledore was the real villain of Harry Potter because
Ooh.
he willingly put Harry Potter in dangerous situations.
Hmm. That would be interesting to argue.
It was.
Yeah.
And like she was adamant, and my division chair and her were like, they were at like jokingly, but she was like, I don't know. And they just had like the nerdiest argument I have ever heard. And I'm in an English department. And it was over whether Dumbledore is the real villain of Harry Potter or not. And so it just made me question of I'm trying to see it from her perspective. And she felt like Dumbledore groomed Harry Potter. He willingly placed him in a dangerous situation with his aunt and uncle
Yeah.
whenever his parents died, and that he knew that he was in dangerous situations and allowed it to happen. And so like when you look at her reasoning, I'm like, I can kind of see it.
Yeah, we're all a little bit of a gray area.
Yes,
A
yes.
gray wizard. That's funny. Oh, I love that people are doing papers on books from childhood. That's so fun. Last question. What is something surprising about writing your book? Something that happened, you were like, I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, I've learned so much about writing my book because my book, I interviewed 25 women from across the United States, from rural areas, urban areas, suburban areas, different ethnicities and religions, socioeconomic backgrounds, education backgrounds. And there were times where I found myself like I was being challenged. And that was great because it made me, in some ways it made me a better mother because I am having more open conversations about my daughter's bodies and their reproduction because I know how I felt whenever we had those conversations. Like the school gave me the period talk, but I don't think like there was this shame and like filth associated with my periods
Yeah.
that I did not want that with my daughters. And I felt like, and it wasn't my own mother. My mother was very open. I just felt like society as a whole when I was growing up, it was you don't talk about your periods.
Yeah.
And when I was interviewing women who had similar experiences, it's so important to talk about your periods because if something's wrong early on, such as endometriosis, it's going to affect your infertility later on down the road. And I want my daughters to, if they want to become a mom or don't want to become a mom, I want that to be their sole decision. And I don't want it to be that they can't carry a child because they've suffered from years of endometriosis and they didn't feel like they can come to me.
Right.
So that was important to me of because my 11-year-old knows that it's going to happen. We've had open conversations. And she'll ask me, she goes, is my period going to hurt? And I tell her, I said, there's going to be some discomfort to it, but it should not be like life changing.
Right.
And if you're in that much pain and you're bleeding that much, then you need to let me know because we need to go to the doctor to get that addressed. And I love that I see my daughter's age group, like that this generation of these 11 and 12-year-olds. And I can't talk for all 11 and 12-year-olds. I'm basing it off of my observations. And that a lot of her friends already know about their periods and they're open about it and like it's no big deal and it's such a great contrast to how I was raised.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking like
it's
nobody talked about it. I mean, maybe they did and I
no,
wasn't in those conversations, I don't know. But the other part
yeah,
was I would read books and it would be like, they're teenagers or whatever, and the hero might be a girl, or probably the secondary character is a girl if we're being real. The
yeah,
hero's a boy, but
probably.
the girl is there
Yeah,
and they're
probably.
gone for like 20 months and they're swimming all the time. And I'm like, what? The first show that I saw that addressed any of that, I think was The Last of Us, which is a recent show. And the girl was
Yeah,
like, oh,
that's
I
a
gotta go
great
get
movie.
like tampons. And I was like, what's
Hmm.
happening? What's happening? She can say that? This is on TV? That was not represented
Yeah.
before at all.
No, it wasn't. And even my daughter, 'cause she's a high performing athlete. Softball is her world right now. And she does have goals to become a Division 1 athlete. She wants to be a professional softball player. And the feminist in me is like, well, how many young boys have goals of wanting to be a professional like athlete and we go after it? And like I'm allowing my daughter to chase her dream to be a professional athlete. Could it change in a few years? 100%. And if it does, I will support that dream.
Yeah.
Um, so like when we were talking about her period, she goes, "Can I still play softball?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Some of the products they have anymore, I'm like, "Well, put period underwear on and you
Yes.
put your softball gear and you're ready to go."
When I heard about that, I was like, oh my
It
God.
was
I mean, we
wonderful.
went to the moon however many years ago, but we have just figured out period underwear. That
Hmm.
is
Oh yeah,
brilliant.
and like some of my friends, their daughters are swimmers
Hmm.
and they are, they're 13, 14 years old. And we're finally figured like period swimsuits so we can handle like that way they don't have to wear a tampon whenever they're
Yes.
competitively swimming. And I think that's great. We're actually making, we're creating inventions that are made for a woman's body that will allow her to continue on with her life. And I think that's
Can you
great.
imagine listening to women enough to make a product that they need, that half of the country
Oh, or
needs?
to test period products with actual human blood instead of chemicals, or
Yeah.
lacing our period products with chemicals. State of Missouri, we just now, here recently, just changed it to where there's no longer a luxury tax attached to period
Oh,
products. And
pink tax.
I'm a big believer that period products should be
Yeah.
free and accessible, in general, just because when you go out into a restaurant, the toilet paper is available for you at your use. I feel like
Yeah.
if we are going to create a society for women, we need to accommodate a woman's body.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that,
You reminded me of a conversation I had at work, and I'm older than this person, right? And this person is a boy, or was
mhm,
a man, or I don't, however they would want to be classified. We were having the conversation about the pink tax. And I was like, yeah, there shouldn't
mhm,
be an extra charge and they should be free. I said the same thing. And he
100%.
said, well, then condoms should be free. And I was like, what? Yes. Okay. I also agree. But why do you think
Yeah.
that? And he's like, well, women need period stuff and guys need condoms. I was like, wrong though. Everyone needs
No.
condoms and women need period things to go to work, not just for
One is
other
a
things.
choice, one is not.
Yes. I was like, there's a difference here. And he, of course, to his credit, he listened and he's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I never really thought of it that way. Like, if I don't have condoms at home, I can still come to work. I was like, yeah,
Yes.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing that condoms shouldn't be
Yeah,
free
they
because
should
I
be.
feel like if we're wanting to talk about like a healthy, like sex health, then that's part of it. But period poverty is it's a reality for a lot of young
Yeah.
girls, even at schools and even women. Like you can't, like gaslight women into saying they need to get a job to take care of their children if we can't even take care of a basic need such as a period product. And if the employer offered the period product, then she can come to work. And I know some American schools, like, period products have always been available in like the K-12 schools, but the girl had to walk to the nurse, and that could take time away from school or from class. It just takes time instead of just having the period products available in the bathroom for her to use.
Yeah.
And just give them enough agency to take care of their needs, and you'll probably start seeing attendance increasing, because if families, I don't know about Canada, but like some of the period products are expensive here in the United States. And so if you're with somebody who is low income and they're trying to decide between food or a period product and they're just going to have to manage, of course they're going to choose food.
Yeah.
And I got into an online argument with another woman over this issue, because I said period products should be free. And she told me, she goes, but they're not free to manufacture. Or do you really expect taxpayers to pay this?
Yeah.
Or employers? And I said, well, toilet paper is also not free to manufacture. And it addresses humans' bodily needs, all humans. And yet, when you go into a restaurant or you go out into public, there is toilet paper available for you without a cost.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And so I brought that up, and she stopped arguing with me, because I said a lot of businesses would probably see revenue increase instead of decrease, because I understand buying period products would be an extra expense to the business. But if you are accommodating this, wouldn't you see an increase of like customers? And here at my college, we are starting to put period products in all of our bathrooms, because my students are first generation. I have non-traditional, I have single mothers, I have mothers in general. And if we can help take care of one need, that's one less cost for them. They're going to come to my class, which means they're not going to drop, which means we actually increase revenue.
Yeah. And they don't need a quarter to get one.
Yes. No, who has a quarter?
You had to go ask for a quarter. It was crazy.
Yeah, and now a lot of institutions, they still have the machines, but they will say free. All they
Yeah.
need to do is like turn it, and they can now, and I'm starting to see more and more institutions like the Denver International Airport. Last time I went through there are free period products in like every single stall. So I'm like, see, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, that's another motto for life. I'm not crazy. I think people can govern themselves accordingly. Because what was the argument? If they're free, they're just going to steal them all. What? Okay. Then restock it.
I was going to say, then restock. So what if that 12-year-old girl at school takes extra pads to go home to her mom so her mom can go to work? Are we really going to fight over that?
Yeah, no, I'm not. That's for sure.
I'm not. I'm like, whatever, just restock it. She's still coming to school because we're taking care of her needs, which means she can be fed, and her education isn't being impacted by her period. And there's a book called Period, End of Sentence by Anita. Her last name I always get wrong. She wrote The Red Tent. And she talks about period poverty in the United States and also globally. And just if we could address the period poverty, we would probably see girls would continue on with their education. Women can go to work, and it's just one more resource that we can have to help women get out of poverty in general.
Ooh, it looks like it's also on Netflix.
Yes, it is. It is.
Hey.
It is on Netflix, and I think it's Nepal or
Okay.
India. Well, she talks about how in India, once a girl gets her period, like her education is completely impacted, especially in like the rural areas.
Right.
And I believe that it's in that documentary. Yeah, it's a great documentary.
Oh, definitely watch that. Those are so interesting. Join us next week for part 2 with Kayla Branstetter. But in the meantime, you can order her book. It's out now. Don't Be an Athena, Women's Stories of Surviving Medical Misogyny. It is available at Walmart, Amazon, wherever you buy books. Go to any of those places and search Don't Be an Athena, Kayla Branstetter. It will come up. You can also follow Kayla on Instagram at kbranstetter87 or Facebook, Kayla Branstetter87, or her website, kaylabranstetter.wpcomstaging.com. LinkedIn, you guessed it, Kayla Branstetter. Kayla Branstetter. Spelling out loud is hard. I'm not on the spelling bee show. So give her a follow, buy the book, read it before next week's episode, and you'll get even more out of it. We end every episode of Words About Stuff with an exceptional outro I haven't thought of yet. Until then, we're stealing. As the incomparable Dr. Rita Charon said, our task as doctors, nurses, therapists, and ethicists is to learn each patient's personal language in its tenses, its images, its silences, and its tensions.